Tonight I'm going to be making a cheesy egg bake, and I got this off of bariatriceating.com. It's a Linda Farnsworth recipe. And first what you'll need to do is preheat your oven 350. So I already have that going. And then you need it says 9x9 baking pan, but I have this 8x11. That's the smallest one I have as far as a pan like that. So I'm just going to use that. Alright, and these are the rest of the ingredients. You're going to need 6 eggs, and you need those beaten. Just beat them up until they get like kind of frothy. I'm going to proof those up in a minute. So that's 6 whole eggs. Then you'll also need 1/4 cup of flour, which I have right there. And you can use, I guess, any kind of flour. It just says flour. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. You just need a teaspoon of that. And then next you'll need 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Where are you, salt? 1/8 teaspoon of that. And then you'll also need 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, black pepper, or you can use white pepper. And then you'll need some Italian seasoning, and you need 1/2 teaspoon of that. And you can add a little bit more or less depending on your taste. You can change up the herbs in any way that you would like, anything you have on hand. I'm going to use these that are in the recipe, but you can use any combination of herbs or cheeses that you have. And as it says here, you can clean out the fridge, and this is a high protein dish, so without any meat, so I'm really excited about that. Alright, next you'll need 1 cup of milk. I'm using fat-free organic milk. You'll need 1 cup of cottage cheese, which I have right here. And I'm just using this low-fat organic Valley. And you can use the fat-free cottage cheese you like, but if you like, but all they have is the low-fat and the regular at Whole Foods. Okay, next you'll need 4 ounces of cream cheese over here. And just cube that up, and I have the low-fat. I'm not sure if the fat-free would work. I'd stick with the low-fat or the full-fat in this. Okay, next you'll need 4 ounces of, no, a cup of shredded cheese. Now I'm using the that Fiesta blend that I bought in the grocery bag. So I'm going to use that, but you can use cheddar, Gruyere, any kind of cheese that you have, you can use that. So those are the ingredients that you'll need for this, and preheat your oven to 350 and spray down your pan, whatever pan that you're using. Alright, I'm going to start out with my eggs here. See if I can get you. There we go. Without dumping the... Alright, there's the eggs. This is 6 eggs, and just beat them until they're frothy. And you can use a whisk or whatever. I'm just using a fork. So first you're going to whisk in the flour, and this is 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup of flour. Just do that kind of slowly. Well, as I dump all of it in there. And I tell you what, I'm going to grab that whisk over here just to make it easier. But I'm assuming you could use like a hand mixer or something like that. But I'm just going to use this whisk, and I'm going to get this all incorporated. And when I get that incorporated, I will be back. Okay, I ended up having to use the hand mixer, so I would recommend that because it did not work well with the whisk. So I had to get out the hand mixer. So I would just do that from the beginning, because the flour and the baking powder is what I put in so far. So it just went in easier because it was all clumpy when I did that. So next I'm going to put in the milk. That's 1 cup of milk. Just ignore that barking, because when I turn the mixer on, Cade has a fit. So I'm just going to whisk in that milk. Then I'm going to put in the cottage cheese. That's 1 cup of cottage cheese. And I just put in half the container because it was a 16-ounce container. Can you put him outside for me? Okay, and then next you're going to put in your cream cheese. Put it in there, and you're just going to kind of break it up a little bit. And it doesn't matter if this is like incorporated, just break it up so it'll go all throughout the mixture. So you'll have little pieces of cream cheese. So just take your whisk and just kind of stab at it and get it kind of broke up there. Okay, I've broken up the cream cheese. There's just like little pieces all throughout it. Then next I'm going to add in this is the Fiesta blend. Like I said, you can add cheddar cheese or any kind of cheese that you have on hand. And just kind of, you know, break it up throughout it. Just kind of disperse it throughout the mixture. And then I'm going to add in the salt. And it calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon. And I'm going to put in actually 1/4 of a teaspoon. Okay, and then you need 1/8 of a teaspoon, or I'm doing 1/4 of pepper. I really like black pepper, so alright, that should be about 1/4. And then the Italian seasoning, you're going to need 1/2 of a teaspoon. So I'm just going to get that out. And you don't have to put Italian seasoning. If you have something else that you like better, you can just use that. And what you'll do is you just take this and just whisk in those herbs and the salt and the pepper just till it's combined pretty well. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now over here I have my baking dish, and I have sprayed that with just the Pam spray, and you just pour this in. Pour that all in there, and it'll be a little thinner because this is a bigger pan. And this is what it looks like. You see those little specks? That's like cream cheese and regular cheese. But I'm going to put this in the oven, and you're going to bake this for 30 to 35 minutes until puffed up, golden, and set. And it makes 8 servings, and I will tell you the nutrition stats for their version. And I think they are also using regular cream cheese and cottage cheese, so it will bring down the fat a little bit in that, depending on which kind you use. But I'm going to put this in, starting out for 30 minutes, and I'll be back when it's done. Okay, this is what it looks like when it is done. I baked this for 35 minutes. It could have even gone, I think, a tiny bit longer, but 35 is pretty good. So, because I had to bring it up, I started out with 30, and it just wasn't enough. So, see, it's kind of set, and it's brown, and that's what you want it to be set, kind of like a quiche. But I wanted to show you. Here's Joe's plate. See how it cuts out really nice? Like it's just a slice. And then this is turkey, blueberry, and maple sausage for him, and then 2 pieces of whole wheat toast. So that's his dinner, and I'm just gonna have, I had some salad, and I'm gonna have a piece of this in just a second. So this is cheesy egg bake. Give it a try and let me know what you think, and I'll talk again soon. Bye bye.